I really loved diving talks. It's one of the best. I think it's one of the best diving shows that out there. The quality of the speakers and the fact that everybody comes to the talk. So you have an audience of, I don't know, I mean, how many people are at diving talks? 150, 200? Everyone comes to all the talks. You have a very big audience. You have an audience of people that are very involved in the industry as well. So it's your message is kind of amplified a little bit, I think, in that way as well. And like I said, the quality of the speakers is just phenomenal. There wasn't a single talk that I did not thoroughly enjoy or was completely fascinated by. The atmosphere is great. I mean, I love I love going to all the dive shows because I get to meet people. I often get to meet people that I only know from online, or I know their work from online. So it's really nice to meet like-minded fellow photographers, passionate divers, people that care about the environment. And it's the same at diving talks, but maybe more so, because everyone seems, very open to making new connections. I think that's one of Arlindo's, the secret sauce that Arlindo has. He's really good at connecting people and bringing people together. And I think that's what diving talks is all about. I did, yes. I made lots of new friends. I was also on the fam tour beforehand, so we got to go to Pico Island and do some diving there, which was awesome. And just getting to spend time with like-minded people, and get to meet people from all over the world who are just as passionate about diving as I am. Was great. Yes, I was very, very touched by Phil Short. Did a presentation on recovering the remains of servicemen from World War II in downed aircraft off the coast of, I can't quite remember where it was, Malta or somewhere like that. But that was a very touching, very emotional story for me. I found that incredibly interesting. Well, I think, like you just said, it's very much about networking and connecting people and sharing stories. There's quite a lot of conservation led stuff as well at diving talks, which is gets more important every day. And just also, I like the fact that that the stories are also shared online, so that if not everyone has the opportunity to actually go to diving talks, but they do still get the opportunity to see some of these stories. Honestly, I think it was the presentations. There were just so many amazing talks that it just blew me away. It was great. And also, getting to see a little bit of Lisbon. Portuguese food is, I have to say, is pretty good. Tried some Portuguese wine, which wasn't bad as well. I'm not much of a drinker, but it was pretty good. Yeah, getting to see a little bit of Lisbon and the talks themselves. It was great. Oh, I would absolutely like to come back. So I don't know if everyone knows, diving talks, the speakers are chosen by the speakers from the previous edition. So I do hope that in the future someone so I get chosen again, or someone picks me again to come back and talk at diving talks. It's been really lovely. Madeira and Porto Santo Island are both absolutely beautiful. We've had some really nice dives, some very friendly grouper in Madeira that kept us entertained on one dive. There's a couple of, there's one purpose sunk artificial reef, one of the corvettes over in Madeira that we dived. And we just dived the sister ship. So there's another corvette that was sank here earlier in Porto Santo that we dived today, and that was really cool. And amazing visibility as well, like 20 plus meters. Not in this region. You do have cave diving in Portugal, so I will have to come back at some point. I'm very keen to sample the Portuguese caves. Yes. I discovered diving quite late in life, when I immigrated to New Zealand at age 30, and then I absolutely fell in love with diving. it was natural to start wanting to take a camera and share what I was seeing underwater. And the cave thing, my partner and I, Julia, were in Southeast Asia diving a lot, and we kept meeting people. She had a friend that was working as a dive guide in the cenotes in Mexico, and we kept meeting cave divers, and this Mexico cave thing just kept popping up. And we were looking for something to do, so we thought we would go to Mexico for 6 months and do our cave diving certifications. And 11 years, 12 years later, we're still there. We never left. So we absolutely fell in love with it. Well, there's a big trend at the moment, and the future at the moment is AI, which for me is very scary, because now you can just ask the AI to generate you an image of whatever you want, and they're starting to get quite convincing. So I think maybe in 50 years, underwater photographers might be out of a job. But also this AI stuff, the autofocus is improving. Specifically for cave photography, we're shooting a lot in the dark. So obviously cave, by definition, there's no natural light. So we bring all the lights with us. So there's kind of two areas where that's really helping my life. Is the lighting technology is getting better all the time, the battery technology. So now we can take 30,000 lumen lights that will last for an hour, no problem. So I shoot a lot with big blue video lights, and they are awesome. And the other side of it is camera technology is getting better. So the sensors, the camera sensors and the camera performance in low light situations is getting better with each generation. It seems to be tapering off a little bit. They're not huge. There's not huge improvements, but there's incremental improvements with every generation. The Sony cameras in particular are very good in low light. A lot of cave photographers use the Sony cameras. And then bringing AI in to kind of improve autofocus, improve auto exposure, the exposure metering and things like that. So there's definitely there's the core things of photography that I hope will never change. Of changing the shutter speed and the aperture and changing your ISO. I hope we will continue to have manual control over those things, but the AI can definitely help us with a lot of the things, a lot of the other stuff in photography, like noise reduction. AI noise reduction has got really good, so things like that are definitely going to help us. Yeah. So I'm not particularly an artistic person. I come from a technology background. I was a computer programmer, web developer. I'm definitely don't have that artistic background. I really like photography because it's kind of a marriage of, there's very technical aspects to photography, and then there's also, of course, the artistic composition, using light, painting with light, and using light and shadow. So I really like the intersection of those two things. And I think for me, an image doesn't necessarily need to be technically great to be a great image. It's more about the emotions that you feel viewing that image or capturing a specific moment in time. A lot of my images are, the images I take for myself are of the environment or of the cave or of the cenote, and I'm trying to capture the essence of that particular cave or that particular section of cave or that particular cenote. I'm always putting a diver in that image as a focal point and to give scale and to give context. But a lot of the other images that I take, where people hire me to shoot either commercial stuff or scuba brands, or people want cave diving pictures of themselves, it's more like an environmental portrait. It's a picture of a diver doing what they love in the environment that they love. So it's kind of that marriage of two things, of portraiture and landscape photography. So I kind of see a lot of my stuff as underwater landscape photography or seascape. Yeah. So I've been involved in documenting quite a few cave exploration projects. A few cave exploration projects. So that is often quite limiting in terms of being able to set up shots, right? Because we're joining an expedition. They have work to do. they want to push further into the cave, they need to map, they need to survey. They don't particularly want to stop and pose for pictures, and they don't particularly want to help me out with lighting. If I'm lucky, I can bring an extra person to help with lighting, but if not, it's very hard to get those shots. And sometimes I'm setting up, I know they go off and I know that they're going to be coming back at some point, and I can set up lights and stuff and wait for them to come back. And then it's just a case of literally having like 1 minute as they pass through that area to get some shots, some shots that look good. So that can be challenging. And also it's taking photos in a completely new environment. So often the photos that I'm taking are places that I know quite well. So it can be quite challenging to go somewhere where you don't know what's around the next corner, and then have to kind of get a shot pretty quickly, because no one wants to hang around for you to be filling with your camera settings and lights and stuff, because they want to go off and do their thing. But that's challenging in a good way. For me, it's quite problematic what I do. So I'm publishing images of the cenotes, I'm publishing images of the caves, I'm popularizing and promoting these incredible environments. And obviously want them protected, and I want them to still be there for future generations of cave divers. But places like Tulum can become a victim of their own success. So tourism in Tulum, in Quintana Roo in general, is growing every day. They have record numbers of visitors every year at Cancun. And the infrastructure for wastewater treatment, for protecting the cenotes, for making sure that these places are looked after properly, is not necessarily there. So I feel that I have a responsibility to try to help protect these places. You know, and it's the same with the reefs. So everything that goes into the water in the cenotes ultimately ends up in the Caribbean Sea, in the coast of the Riviera Maya. So suntan lotion, contraceptive pills, that drugs, it all gets flushed down the toilet. It all ends up in the cenotes, and then it all ends up on the reefs and damaging the reefs and polluting our oceans. So I think maybe the message that I want to send to everyone is that it's all connected. The cenotes are the drinking water and the life water in the Yucatán Peninsula, but it also goes beyond that, because it's all connected to the ocean, and that water is all one water. And so we need to protect not just our oceans, but our inland waterways as well.